When you ask this question, is there an original African Bible, you likely receive a lot of evidence, offers, links, and the proofs. You can see them. We are showing them here. This question is very significant because if there is an original Bible, an original African Bible, which has been rediscovered, it will contain a message to every melanin dominant human being who is alive today on the earth. What we need to ask is, who wrote the original African Bible if it's there? Did Moses write the Torah? Is the Torah the original African Bible? What alphabet did he use in the original Torah? Was Moses inspired by the unseen creator or by any other divinity? Where can we read the divine messages or a message that is for every melanin dominant human being on earth today? Let's look at this by understanding that when we go to Moses, we are told straight away in Acts 7:22 that he was learned in all wisdom of the Egyptians, the Kemites, the Africans, the Ethiopians, the Cushites, and was mighty in words and deeds. So Christians are still taught that Moses actually wrote the first 5 books of the Bible, including the description of his own death in Deuteronomy 34. And Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in Moab. To this day, no one knows where his grave is. Verse 7, Moses was 120 years old when he died, yet his eyes were not weak nor his strength gone. Did Moses write that? Did he write about his death and his death scene? Or it is an added text? If the death of Moses is an added text and could be added to the entire Bible, are we sure that the whole Bible is not just a story that was crafted and written by other authors? Despite the fact that in Exodus 24 verse 4 we are told that Moses wrote all the words of the Torah. This is a problem, because why then did Moses write about his death? If the original African Bible has been rediscovered, it will contain a message for every melanin dominant human being on the earth today. The problem with this is that melanin dominant human beings predates the Bible and all the stories that you can think of in the Bible by almost 3 billion years old. You can read and research on the collector balls that prove that humans already existed in Africa and were advanced and had machines to make a nickel alloy and groove it and make a groove using a lathe. There's also evidence. You can go to this YouTube and read the mountains of the gods and 70,000-year-old sacred snake rock worship in Botswana, Africa, predating the Torah by almost 63,000 years. So it is a problem, and the answer to the question, is there an original African Bible, seems to be a very complicated answer. And who wrote the original African Bible if it's there? Many scholars today say no one knows for sure when the Torah was written or first written down, but they believe that the final version of the Torah we have today was recorded during the Babylonian exile in 539 BCE. They give this evidence. You go to Wikipedia Commons, this photo by Tamari Hayedeni of the script that is there today, and Moses the lawgiver has a different set of that. They were able to fully read the text here and determine that the silver scrolls were from a period of time before the destruction of the Jerusalem temple in 586 BCE. So if Moses had learned in Egypt, what alphabet would he have used to write the Torah if the Torah was written by Moses 800 years before the discovery of these silver scrolls? Because they don't use hieroglyphics that Moses should have learned. So who wrote it? If Moses used any other alphabet other than the hieroglyphics, then Moses never wrote that book, because Moses never learned any other future script written in the 7th or 6th century BCE. Straightforward, Moses should have learned hieroglyphics which were discovered 3,000 years BCE before Moses was even born or Abraham was even on the earth. So the earliest known precursor to Hebrew cannot predate hieroglyphics. It's a lie. Whoever says that is lying. And that inscription, Kibet Kwefa inscription, where you now get the people say Yahuwah, Yahweh, early Hebrew or Proto-Semitic, is just a trick, because the language that we know today as Hebrew is a modern language. It's not an ancient language. Moses never wrote anything in Hebrew, but he should have written it in hieroglyphics. But there is nothing in hieroglyphics. Therefore, the original Bible, the Ethiopian Bible is the oldest, is just a point of faith. Millions of Africans today believe that the discovery of the old Ethiopian Bibles is proof that Christianity was originally the religion or spirituality of melanin dominant human beings. Yet, this book that we read today as the Bible is a watered down form of spirituality that contains a lot of information to support and sustain enslaving melanin dominant human beings. You read Deuteronomy 28, you find that it's straightforward justification of why black people should be oppressed and suppressed today. You can go to this YouTube. They say Christianity started in Africa. Is this so? To find that this book is not authentic, because the language and the alphabet used there, whether it's hieratic, Phoenician, Greek, Roman, or Hebrew, is not the language that was supposed to have been used by Moses to write it, except if it is hieroglyphic. This is concerning the Ethiopian Bible and its assumed origins of Christianity in Africa. Therefore, the Ethiopian Bible is not the African Bible. Since there is no oldest Bible written in hieroglyphics, which Moses must have used, we now need to answer if Moses really lived. Moses never existed, but was a Hebrew plagiarism of the life of Pharaoh Amos. Amos liberated Hamit and protected the Red Line from the Hyksos and barbarians who came from West Africa and others who came from Western Asia. Pharaoh Amos, the great liberator of Africa, is the one whose story, as well as the story of Akhenaton, was combined to build this Moses. Now we have answered the question by saying no, Moses never existed. Therefore, the oldest Bible is not even original if it's there. And melanin dominant human beings believe it predates the Torah by millions of years. And they were codified prior to the emergence of the people called the Hebrews. And it is this codification that we can call the African and original Bible. Not what you are reading today in the synagogue, in the temple, or in the mosque. Because the original African Bible is a library crafted in stone sculptures, sacred geometric icons, architectural buildings, and so-called African indigenous spirituality. Its oral aspect, which is its spiritual aspect. There is no archaeological evidence of the existence of the Hebrew people or any person in the Bible. And also the Bible doesn't write anything concerning the pyramid or pyramids or ancient structures in ancient Hamit, which all other books wrote about. So there is a lot of archaeological evidence of ancient black civilizations in Hamit, in Africa, in Kush, which is the modern day Sudan, the Nok in West Africa, the Damat in ancient Ethiopia, the Canaan, old Phoenicians, but there is no archaeological proof for Hebrews. You are told to just believe and have faith. So how do you believe in a book which is on earth, but the writers never existed? They directly copied from the African Bible on walls. You can walk there and find them in places that we have already indicated prior to this. So when you read in the Bible, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, Genesis 1:1, you may think that this is unique. And a lot of people have gone into a lot of mathematics and numerology to prove that this is really inspired. While we know that in Hamit, there is a text that is written where they copied. It says, Ankepa peret, ankepa ta, tesna im, sen em, nyunyu, em, enyunyu. Not existed the heaven, not existed the earth. I raised them up from out of the waters of Nyunyu, primeval waters of the abyss, from a state of inactivity. Shown here. In the beginning, God made heaven and earth out of nothing. This is John Wycliffe, who wrote that in 1382. In the beginning, God created heaven and earth. It's King James Version, 1600. So they didn't originate it. And it is very clear that they copied from here. There are artifacts that are found in the Bible. We will pick a few. And these artifacts are still found in Africa, as they were and proof that there was nothing that the Bible did really originate, or the Torah really originated. These are African boxes or pega that were ceremonially wrapped in red cloth, just like the ark in Numbers 4:8. You can see clearly here on walls, and then you see the ark produced here in Exodus and other books in the Torah. And the discovery of the tomb of Tutankhamun shows a perfectly assembled and built chest with Anubis sitting on it, and the lid and inside of it was perfectly made of gold, just like what you find with the ark with these handles. Same if you read Exodus, that's exactly, you will be reading this. So this is the original Bible that we are showing. The Bible, in whatever version you can have today, is strictly and honestly a European book, mainly perhaps written by African scholars for Europeans, because it is full of African narratives. So where then can we read the divine message or messages for every melanin dominant human being who is living on the earth? The African Bible. And this is the African Bible here. Pharaoh Amenemhat, seated before a sacred Amen-Ra candles, 1985 BCE. And now the Hebrews plagiarized this, the candles of Amen-Ra, that became Menorah. They barely changed the name or look and originally plagiarized. You go to Kushite Kemetic Spiritual Science or in Facebook, you will find all that. We now use this as Kwanzaa candles, a modern restoration of our own ancient traditions. This is the African Bible, and I am reading it as the African Bible. These 7 lamps and sacred lights are representative of the light that we get from the sun of life and spirit, stolen from the walls of Africa and changed to suit the new people that came to love these but didn't want to credit us. You know, Abraham changed to Abraham, Abaraham, Abara, Abhat, Bara, Beth, Raham, us. Straight, clearly, you can go to the website that we are showing here, and also shown here, a rescript 500 BCE, the original 3500 BCE. Ra, original, the Abraham, Son, Ham, Kami, Hamiti, and the Nunu, Noah, and the Sirius, the star, Sarah. It's a rescript. So this is the original African Bible that we are showing you, and where they stole and they wrote. Again, this is where we can read the divine messages or message for us. Shatter evil, outside good, and the Ankh, birth or rebirth, gives you Putaris power inside you. And there, all of this was written in the Bible as the tree of knowledge of good and the evil, and the selection of life and the death, and all the issues that come and arise from that. Comparative continues. When we go to the laws of Maati and the laws of living on earth, you go and you find that the teachings of Amenemope, Pharaoh of Hamit, and the writings of Solomon of Israel, of course, is the same. Go to in the Proverbs, says, give thine ear and hear what I say, and apply thine heart to apprehend. Incline thy ear and hear my words, and apply thine heart to apprehend. For it is pleasant if thou keep them in thy belly. It is good for thee to place them in thine heart, that they may be fixed like a peg upon thy lips. Let them rest in the casket of thy belly, that they may act as a peg upon thy tongue. This is what our ancestors taught, and this is what was plagiarized. Let's read verse 3 here. Rob not the poor, for he is poor, neither oppress the lowly in thy gate He's Maati. And then our ancestors said, beware of robbing the poor and of oppressing the afflicted. Again, verse 5, a scribe who is skillful in his business findeth himself worthy to be a courtier. A man who is skillful in his business shall stand before kings. So this is where they store. This is the African Bible that we are showing here. And this is the Bible that you want to read today. Where then can we read it? It's from our walls. This is where they derived from HORESU, the sun, the morning sun, the child, sitting on a lotus in Upper Hamit, and the waters of Nyunyu. This is our version. And the Greeks came and they borrowed Omega and Alpha, the Alpha and the Omega, and Hippocrates, Hypercrute, the Greek version, and now we became Alpha and Omega, and Jesus with the halo 666, and this is the Roman version 400 AD, and this is 2500 BCE. There is no time to waste. We have shown a lot of evidence here. Today is your day to restart or to start or to continue or to improve your understanding of the true African philosophy and mentality and the wisdom, and read from the Melanin Dominant Bible. Yes, they codified everything, but they left their marks and we can read them. In terms of time, the hour is HORESU is our time. HORESU, starting in the morning, is a child, the younger, and the hours, and in the in the noon, afternoon, is powerful when you are a youth and when you are an adult, and very soon you will be an old man ready to die. So do not waste your time. Wherever you discover the African Bible at any stage here, grab it and start to read the African Bible so that you will be saved. This is where we can read the divine messages or divine message. There are many other sources because the Bible means library. African Kushite Kemetic wars, ancient holy cities like Mohenjo-Daro in the Maya, and it's readily available to master the truths from these holy books and holy tongue and its interpretation. You cannot read the Bible or the Torah or the Quran and think that you will understand what was written in the book of Coming Forth by Day or any other book. You have to ignore those books and go directly to these books. To learn more, you can enroll today in our 14-module Bantu Foundations training. If you want to access these modules, send us your request on join@marifado.com. Till we meet again, we have shown you the African Bible. Please go and read it. Yours, Hueman Jatopi, Tumizu Lukunikeni Mjakanja Miskaban, saying, rest assured, you are on track if you are reading your African Bible. Tatenda, Siabonga, Enkos, Asante Sana.